All right. Anybody, can you hear us now? Looking in the chat? Okay, good.
All right.
All right.
Okay. For the sake of those people, we start the show from over again.
All right. Well, hello, puppies and kittens. We'll do another episode of Quran Lesson for the Infidel. And Bogey, go ahead, take it away.
Yes. So because of the technical difficulties, we don't want people going to hell for missing the first part of the show. So we're going to repeat it again. Well, it's a tall order today. We have 4 surahs of the Mecca type, and they're going to be fun. They all rhyme big time. Generally, the Mecca side of the Quran is mostly theology. So, what to believe, the afterlife, the judgment day, angels, demons, devils, you name it. And a few legislative verses here and there, because in the beginning you want to establish what the delusion should be, versus after that tell people what to do. So this is the segment we are rapidly approaching the end of, and these are 4 surahs. We glob together surahs when they're short enough and they don't make for a whole session. So we put 2, 3, 4 together and do them in one show. These 4 surahs, good news, have no abrogations attached to them. So, every verse stands as is in these surahs, and Allah did not change his mind or come up with a better verse than these regarding the subject, which is great, generally. We can start with the first surah today, which is 78, Al-Anba, or Al-Naba, sorry.
So before we start, I have a quick question, though.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So all these 4 surahs, these are talking about Qiyamah, right?
Yes.
The Day of Judgment.
Yes.
And so that's why there are no aberrations. I can't pronounce that word.
Abrogation.
Abrogations.
There are no abrogations, but they could have abrogations, and we have seen surahs that talk about Yawm al-Qiyamah and have abrogations in them. When they, for example, mention what to do with infidels, and it incidentally says just turn away from them and leave them be, well, that's abrogated, right? We have seen abrogations in surahs otherwise. But carry on.
Because it's such a strange coincidence that today itself, this morning, I received a video from my dad, and he sent me a video all about Qiyamah, the signs of Qiyamah, the judgment day, and trying to convince me or scare me back to the religion, as it were, or whatever it was the reason. And today we are reading about that, which is like, I thought it funny. I thought I would mention that.
Yes. Are you thinking of reverting back to Islam?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, so I guess the scaring isn't working. That's good. So,
well, no, yeah, but the thing was that it used to scare me to such an extent.
yes.
I stayed in the religion for, like 5-10 years after I left it, simply because of that fear of the day of judgment,
Yes. So 78, Al-Naba.
I notice a question in here where someone is asking about the story about Muhammad splitting the moon. Is it in there or like a myth about the Quran? That is in the Quran. It's in an earlier surah that we've already done.
And obviously he didn't split the moon, so no worries. That's an error as it is. Okay, so my first note is 78, 1 to 5, 6 to 40, runs with noon meme, which do sound very similar in Arabic. Like, they all sound the same. and then rhymes with long double A's and all the way to the end. This is going to influence the meaning delivery quite significantly, to the negative, by the way. Also, this is like magic when read in Arabic. It's just what the heck is going on here. We have stubby verses, 2 or 3 words, and they're rhyming. Um, so that's my first note.
I have to comment on the rhyme that it's one of the easiest, most common rhyme in Arabic. The meme noon and the double A. It's
Yes.
the one of the easiest rhymes. So it's not challenging. Again, here's the
Right.
Quran just using the simplest tools
Yeah.
possible.
Well, I do have a note that Muhammad is not a great poet.
No, he's not.
These rhymes are, as you said, low-hanging fruit in the language. And he does suffer greatly delivering any kind of meaning he wants to deliver. Evidence to that, Abdul Halim is suffering with the translation.
Yeah,
You
even in
went
Arabic, actually.
right, and you got to multiple translations and they don't agree because guess what? It's hard to agree when you're trying to rhyme and not deliver the meaning. Then people don't agree. It's fairly obvious what happened here, but there
Yeah.
you go.
We have to
Oh,
also mention that lots of words were just for apologizing for the Quran were added to the Arabic dictionary, and it doesn't mean this word. Just
right.
to give alibis to Quran, they were added vocabulary to the dictionary, which is yeah.
Right. And somebody was asking me through email, I can't exactly remember who it was, but he was going like about the language constructs in the Quran not being correct in the terms of its female male tense nature, right? And he was asking me, where is this and why is it incorrect? And I explained it to him like this is not this it is in female because it is talking about something else. It is in male tense because it's talking, I think it was talking about Moses doing it.
Mhm.
So but he was going like there is an explanation that whatever is in the Quran is the grammar, which is correct. The Arabic grammar is fashioned after the Quran. I did not want to go through that route. I wanted to say, okay, no, there is a grammatical explanation here. Whether the fact is that grammar bent itself backward to accommodate the Quran, that's, I think, is a subject of a different matter.
Yeah, two things to note about the language of the Quran, the Arabic language of the Quran, the classical Arabic. By the time we have the Quran, the language might have been just about a century old, 100 years old, which in terms of languages is very, very young language. And it's the classic Arabic came out from the Hijazi Arabic, which is an older language. So between that, the fact that it's a new language, so it's borrowing from everyone, and then within the 200 300 years after Muhammad and the conquer like Arabia, the language kind of got standardized under the Abbasid, and that's why they based the grammar on the Quran. Yes, there is some odd entities here and there, but because it's kind of the earliest Arabic literature that we actually have is the Quran. We don't have anything written or like as a book beside the Quran at that time.
I disagree on that. I will check the facts because I've read there's a lot of scrolls
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
before the Quran. Lots of them before the
Yeah,
Quran.
I
Maybe it was
also
the
have to
first.
disagree.
Yes, I disagree with
Okay.
that, and I will get the references for it.
Yeah. Please do.
I will bring the mu'allaqat as a counter evidence to your statement.
Okay.
Yes, me too.
Okay.
These are
I will counter your counter and say
multiple have
the mu'allaqat are not a book. they are separate
They're,
entities by
they're not a
themselves.
book, but
I know.
look at the linguistic constructs on
Yes.
those poems. That
Yes.
is a fully fledged developed language to have those. This is not the primitive stuff we look into. We look at the Quran here and go,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah, but
It's
we
See,
probably
that's the different. That's the different because the mu'allaqat are more focused on the Hijazi, centered on the Hijazi Arabic,
right.
than
But
a
how
book
much?
that's trying
But
to combine everything.
right. But look at the
no. But then
language
if
there.
I was to play the but if I was to play the devil's advocate here for a minute, I would say that the Quran has been a codified version of all those other books that came before, whereby simplifying the language, allowing all the Arabs at the time to learn the Quran much more easier. You know what? Like more palatable and digestible form.
But
You
it's
know what I
not
mean?
easier or palatable or
I think
digestible.
that's where
Right. So for a couple of surahs from now, after today's session,
Yes, will
we're
be.
going to hit Al-Baqarah, and the language is going to be absolutely unrecognizably different,
Yes.
right?
I'm just stating
So,
what the arguments are. I'm
right.
not saying that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay,
I
next
guess,
time next
but
time we'll get references and we'll talk about it.
Yes, please.
it looks like the Medina people are much smarter linguistically than the Mecca people, and they can handle the language there. No.
Because they used to travel more.
Okay. So, my next good is 78, 9, 10, 11. Can you read your notes, please, Aaron?
For 70 for 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Yes.
Well, they're all divided here.
9, 10, and 11.
Okay, for 9, 10, what the even 9 and okay, yeah, gotcha. No, day and night are an inevitable consequence of a spinning globe that Muhammad obviously never knew about.
Yeah, good catch. The day and night cycle, as described in the Quran, so far is predicated upon the sun doing all the moving, controlled and ordered by Allah, and not the earth simply rotating around its own axis. This is a huge scientific problem in the Quran. Every time the day cycle is mentioned, it's Allah putting the sun in here to bed and then waking up in the morning over there. And in between, the sun is loitering under the throne of Allah or something. I don't know. The point is, it's got nothing to do with a planet that is rotating in front of a star that isn't moving a whole lot.
Yeah,
Who
two
knew
things
there
that would
were
impress
scientific
me.
errors?
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, who knew there were scientific errors in the Quran?
Ooh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah, it would impress me if the Quran or if any of these ancient scriptures gave an accurate description of cosmology. Back when nobody knew any better, if they said that each of the stars was like a sun unto itself, and that many of them were bigger than the sun that we know, they're just really far away. If it said something as unprecedented as that, then I would be impressed that perhaps that was written by a divine being or inspired by a divine being, or that person certainly couldn't have had that knowledge. But
That
the
would
Quran
have been
isn't
a
written
far
that way.
more. Yeah, that would have been a far more believable argument to say that is of a divine origin.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, can we talk about the two verses three verses before that? Because it's so scientific. We made
Yes,
the argument
please.
that
Yes, please
yeah.
do.
I don't have the English. I have the Arabic. So we made the earth flatted. The mountains are I don't know, rawasi, autadan. The
Outstanding,
mountains,
yes.
yeah. And people were created as a male and a female only.
The what that is the pole that you nail
Yes,
the
poles.
tent down with.
And it's poles that fix the earth, and it's not true. Mountains are not made to make the earth stable. Which is,
They are not
scientifically.
stable on themselves. They are a result of the
But
the tectonic plates.
Yeah,
in
they
both
don't
let her
stable
speak,
the
Bogey.
earth. They don't stable the earth.
Yeah.
which is scientifically wrong, and which the Quran says that it makes the mountains are made to stable the earth.
Yeah, the way
And
it was
the earth,
explained to me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, okay. Go ahead.
The way it was explained to me by Hamza Sortzis, he was arguing the apologetics of isostasy, and he thought that this was a great argument for the Quran, for the scientific evidence of the Quran, that the mountains hold down the lithosphere, as he put it, because it was supposed to be that the Earth is a map laid out on a flat table, and that the mountains are paperweights to hold the map down. And he said that that's true because the mountains hold down the lithosphere, or so that they hold everything stable. And I said, but the lithosphere flows under the mountains, and that's not what isostasy is. And so he retracted that argument, and also consequently stopped arguing for scientific evidence of the Quran after that.
Thank you. No, because it's in Arabic, they translate it as the mountains are literally poles that makes the earth from moving, as that stables the earth and makes us stable and don't move with the earth. It doesn't make any sense, but that's science in Quran.
Yeah.
So here again, we have another example of where different people's translations of the Quran have different meanings. Where I have with me the Mustafa Khatib translation of the Quran, and verse 6 and 7 is when it's translated, it says, have we not smoothed out the earth like a bed? And then the next verse goes, and made the mountains as its pegs. So again, the same thing as Aaron had said, where it's like a map, and then you peg the mountains on the corners to hold down the earth. That's what that's implying right there.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
It's wrong. Yeah.
Verse 8 is, of course, a reference to that people are meant to be paired up with their opposite sex. I would say it could be used equally well for same-sex marriage. There is no particular mention of male and female here.
No, but then this runs into a problem if you encounter an asexual person.
Yes.
Yeah, but the description, people, let's say we're talking about the Quran, and all the sects of Muslims describe this verse that we made you as two genders, male and female. That's how they translate it. Everyone.
Right,
all
but they are also wrong, and all the life forms that are neither male nor female or both would actually stand to protest this.
I agree. I'm just telling people that doesn't read Quran what Quran is saying.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I know this verse is talking about me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I am both male and female right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سَبَاتًا. Yeah, sure. For those who can sleep that way, is great. But many people have.
But this can pass. This can pass. Like people do sleep to have some comfort. It can pass.
وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. Really? You're gonna wear the night?
It's poetic. It's also can pass. It's poetic.
I'm getting to that. Like this. If
I'm more interested with the seven skies again.
Right.
7 heavens.
وَجَعَلْنَا النِّهَارَ مَعَاشًا. What about unemployed people? Come on.
Yeah,
or someone who would, and you know what? Like for those two ayahs, maybe I
work at night.
What work at night? There you go. You're un-Quranic in your work.
Yeah. See,
I shouldn't work. I'm a woman. Wait,
that's correct.
Work. I'm a woman.
Right. You should be even talking in public.
Yes.
I didn't know wearing the night was an option, but that certainly sounds poetic. I think I've known some people who knew how to wear the night.
Are you looking at yourself in the mirror?
No.
Okay.
They made the night as a cover. So when they say they made a night as a cover for what? To do misdeeds in the night or what?
Let's not get into that. It's
Where the phrase
Yeah, yeah,
"under
yeah.
the cover of dark" comes from, or one of the origins for that phrase, is that it used to be, there was a belief that Mithras, the god Mithras, had the stars of the night sewn into his cloak, and there's the firmament that all these people believed in, which is the crystal dome over the flat Earth, and he would drape his cloak over the dome of the flat Earth, and that's where we would get the impression of stars. Of course, that was just. I don't think when the people made up that story, I don't think anybody expected anyone to believe it. But I'm seeing that same sort of thing repeated in the Bible and the Quran, where they get the impression that night is not just the absence of light. Light is a thing unto itself that was created separately.
But to be fair, we also use it in our daily language. Like when I always wear black, so they say like I wear like a night. It's the saying in Arabic. We use it as in our normal language, Arabic language.
Right.
So,
There is
yeah,
a big role of the Quran in doing that. Like you are wearing the night because the Quran says.
I don't think I'm Gothic. I don't think I'm Gothic because of Quran.
You know.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, we have another question that popped up. Somebody, Robert Lawrence asks, "What does the Quran say about volcanoes or earthquakes? Does it refer to these activities as from hell or Allah mad or something?" Well, we want to stick to the verses that were the surahs that we're talking about today. But if anybody wants to answer what it does, it say anything about volcanoes or earthquakes specifically? There's a lot of vague allusions that sound like it's referring to that. I don't know.
Yes, so far we didn't see any activity regarding mountains and volcanoes.
We do have one.
We have a lot
There
of
is-
things in there that sound like they're talking about volcanoes, but they don't. They're not specific.
What is being mentioned when volcanoes and mountains come is to stabilize the earth and flatten it. So
No, but then there is a specific mention about volcanoes and earthquakes on the verses about the Day of Judgment when Qiyamah happens. As a sign of Qiyamah, volcanoes and earthquakes will be quite frequent. That's the only mention of it in the whole of the Quran,
yeah,
as far as I know.
yeah, I don't disagree with that. I
I was thinking there is no mention of any natural occurrences of things. There's some mentions of allusion to some of the stuff that happened to some cities that been destroyed or stuff like that, but there's no naming
There is
for it. Or
there is an ayah about Armageddon. زلزلت الأرض زلزالها, about Judgment Day.
yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
ayah that talks about earthquakes and mountains and collapsing. And
Exactly.
it's the movie 2012. Sorry, the movie 2012 in one verse.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then the very next verse after that says that the sun will be so close to your head. So make of it whatever you will.
Diana, want to
Yeah.
take 12 from here?
Which was
Verse
12.
وبنينا فوقهم سبعا شدادا.
Yeah. We're back to the seven skies and seven heavens. We are very, very well maintained and have no cracks and nothing in it. And
Yeah.
very tough seven skies, which is I don't know, scientific proof of Quran. That's it. No.
Yeah.
Praise be to nobody.
To
Well,
nobody, yes.
Praise be to Allah who didn't know what the sun is.
I can't wait to get to the verse where we hear that the sun will be very near to our heads.
It's
It's a
It will
doozy,
come.
man.
it will
It
come.
will
It's
come.
small. It's very short actually, but it will come.
It will.
Okay, and I have to know that in number 13, it talks about Sirajan Wahaja, and the people that claims that the stars, that the lamps, Siraj mean lamp, that people claim that the lamps are not the stars. They are wrong because this ayah is talking about the sun, especially, and calling the sun a lamp. So, if the sun is a lamp, the biggest lamp in the sky, and then you have little lamps at night, what are they? They're not little planets or little lamps that someone throws around. No, They
They're
are
fairy
the
lights.
stars. Yeah,
They're fairy lights that you put on your Christmas tree.
exactly. Just bugs.
That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of this is like so like ridiculous beyond belief if you read it, like verse for verse, along with the translation or whichever X number of translations that you have in front of you, and each one will say a different thing, and it's still ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm jumping 4 to 20. وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ سَرَابًا. The heck
Yeah,
was that?
it was
Right?
obviated.
Like he turned, and the mountains were moved around like they are a mirage, like a desert mirage. I don't know if you've seen one of those.
I've been to the desert
Right.
quite recently, actually,
Yeah. Like
and
mountains don't do that.
my translation says that the mountains will be blown away, becoming like a mirage.
Yes.
Which still makes no sense. It makes even less sense than what you've been saying.
If you translate it literally, it will be the mountains are now walking like ghosts. Yeah, that's the literate translation of it.
I think that's the closest thing that you could like give it as a value. It's just that they will be a ghost because the mirage is
Mountain.
nothing basically and moving around. So, but it's just empty threats. That's the thing.
We got a bunch of super chats all at once, it looks like. And it looks like I might have missed one already. It just blinked on and off. Robert Lawrence, $5. Thanks for the info, he says. Thank you very much. Woody, £1.99 super sticker. Asexual Atheist gave us $4.99. And €20 from Germ Mark. He says, hello, fellow infidels. Thanks for your work. I also forget, Asexual Atheist says, thanks for this conversation. All right.
You're most welcome.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, this conversation doesn't happen in Islamic circuits at all. And the fact that somebody can look at the language of the Quran, point at it and say, well, this is not okay. You literally need the atheist to do it because nobody else is going to do
There's
that.
another super chat.
Yeah, Kong Yasuke. I think that I'm doing the best I can with the pronunciation, but I've never heard that word before, so I don't know. So it's £5 and no comment there. Thank you very much for Kong.
I think there's a germ mark. €20.
We read that.
I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. I just got it. Yeah, okay.
Verse 21,
So-
I think is very interesting if we're going down to there.
Yeah, go for it.
So verse 21, the translation is, indeed, hell is lying in ambush. And so now hell is cognizant and lying in ambush for us.
Yeah, it's like a spider, just waiting for you to step in the.
Well, it means like a goaler, no? Like hell is a goaler and you're shooting footballs.
Well, hell is there,
Massage?
and you are going to hell, right? But because he needed this to be rhyming, he had to use these words, and now we're trying to interpret it as hell is kind of like waiting in ambush for you. It's not in ambush, it's coming, right? That's not an ambush anymore.
Yeah, because when it suits their needs, hell is quite alive and active and actively seeking out people.
Right. It's not quietly sitting there waiting for you to blunder into it. No. But because this is rhyming, he had to use words that rhyme. And he couldn't come up with anything better.
Yeah, it's like hell now has human properties.
Yeah, it does.
I
Because
think
Well,
what
hell
it
does
means,
have human.
yeah,
hell is like on the lookout for you. Because Mirsad means like this, like you're guarding something, and she's gonna look at you and watch what your moves and whatever, which is weird, but that's what it means in Arabic. I don't know the translation.
No, yeah, it's close enough that way. But again, we also know that this verse, this entire surah, is trying to rhyme and literally breaking the meaning for the rhyme in this point and many other points. So let's move on. Any notes until the end of the surah? Anyone wants to bring something up?
No, just the rest of it are what will happen to us atheists, and that's it
Mm.
for the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
the entire verses that come after this just it's totally it is bad.
There's one thing that about heaven, the greatness of heaven, because you can't hear any lies or anything wrong in heaven. So boring. Heaven is so boring. لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذبا. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong.
Which verse is
Only
that?
perfection.
35.
Yes, I don't have the numbers. So you لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. So heaven is so perfect. I think if I went to heaven, I will kill myself. That's how perfect heaven is.
Okay. I want to have a note on 32.
I was gonna go for 33, but go ahead.
32. I beat you to 32.
حدائق وعنابا.
وكواعب أترابها.
Yeah,
What the hell is he
that's
talking?
for Aaron. Oh my God. ولهم زوجات حديثات السن.
This is when somebody says the 72 virgins are some sort of fruit. This is the verse that absolutely pummels that meaning into oblivion. وكواعب, that's the girls with hard and firm breasts.
Yes.
Atraba, of similar age than you are. And you in heaven, you will be in your youth. So I'm guessing 21, 23 years old. So these girls with firm breasts are going to be waiting for you there. And they are kawa'iba atraba.
Okay,
With firm
so
and leveled breasts. Please,
yeah.
leveled and firm and the same size breasts.
Yes.
And very youngsters. Very young. I think it's around 12, 14 in Islam.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
At
Well,
that
it
age, I don't
says-
think they have breasts.
it says that they're going to be similar age to you,
Yes.
but now I'm hearing that we're
Not
all
to
going to
you.
be.
Not
Wait,
to you. The girls will be similar ages.
They
Well,
all will be equal ages.
Okay,
Yes,
well, I
the
thought
girls, but
that
the man can be at 50.
that's what I was thinking. You know, say I die and I'm Muslim or whatever, so I would it'd be like 58 years old, and there would be girls of similar age to me. Not that 58-year-old women are going to be that
These are
interesting
all-
to me.
No old people in heaven, Aaron.
No.
That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
If you choose to. If you choose to.
No. Muhammad said no old people in heaven.
Well, that's
And
what I'm
he made
saying.
an old lady cry.
There's the implication all the time that you're going to have these lovely young ladies, and then it says you're going to be similar age to you. Okay, well it's not quite the lovely young lady. I mean, it's a fine person, but not quite the sex cell that it was a moment ago. Until you just say that I'm going to be in my 20s too. Well, that would be an important thing to say. But then why would you say
Yes.
that they were going to be similar age to me if we're all going to be the same age?
It's
No,
assuming no. So what I think this is in those days where people died young for obvious reasons because lack of medical health and because you're living in a desert and so the
war.
age and age gap wherein it caps at 32 or 35 or 40 at the maximum. So I think it's based on that where this verse comes from, where life expectancy at the time used to be around the 40s.
Yes,
Yeah.
because in our sect, like old people, very old people will go to their peak. So their peak is at 35, 40. They will go in a small stream and go out with big dicks and the age and the physics, the body they want. for the men and the women actually. And in this verse, they say young girls. Hadithat is actually not younger girls with same breasts, same size breasts.
The way
we can't
been
miss
explained
verses
to me.
like this, can we?
Yeah, it's that you will be, because it's a physical like afterlife, so you will have a physical body, so you will get a new body. Most of the hadith says a new body that you will get after resurrection. And it's a similar age, so it's a younger age, not similar age, I mean it's a younger age, so it's not going to be in your 50s, because there's an, or 60s, there's an old lady, a Muslim old lady went to Muhammad and told him, am I going to heaven? And he looked at her and he said, no, old ladies don't go to heaven. And she started
Is this
crying.
in the Quran?
That's in the hadith.
No, it's
It's the hadith.
Okay.
it's a story.
Yeah, and she's crying. It's like, I'm not going to heaven. He told me I'm not going to heaven. That's the prophet of Allah told me I'm not going to heaven. And he was laughing and like, come back, come back. He's like, you're gonna be young again. So you're not gonna be old.
Yes, that's for the ladies, because all of us women, all of us will go back to be in our teens with stable and same size breasts and be virgins.
Yeah,
all of us.
And that's
everyone.
That's everyone. Even the men, they will be a younger age, so they will not be. They will be in their prime, whatever age of the prime of the person.
Yes,
I
and
think. I don't know
but
exactly.
They don't specify. Yeah.
They don't specify. They say you are in your prime. So men and women, they will be in their prime in heaven, whatever that age for the person.
But they don't talk about women except like this in heaven. In
Wait,
Quran,
are you telling me that Islam views women as an object of male pleasure only?
no. No.
Really?
No.
So I got another couple super chats here. We Triumph the Insult Dog. And I'm inclined to say, are you the real Triumph the Insult Dog? Except every time I post on somebody else's thread, somebody posts on there, are you the real Aaron Ra? Which is confusing. So Triumph the Insult Dog offers $2, says, I love you, Aaron Ra. Thank you for years of content. Thank you very much for that. Arcane Owls also gave $4.99, says, hell's coming out of the trees, man.
That depends on what you're smoking.
Yeah.
So I just want to recap these verses a little bit. So hada'iq wa anaba, this is what the good doers get. They get gardens and fruits. They get kawa'iba atraba, which is the girls' description there. So you get girls. And you get a ka'san dahaqa, which means overflowing cups of whatever drink you're drinking. So
This alcohol.
They were
Wine.
very, very specific. They're full cups of wine.
yeah,
Pure
Yes,
wine.
wine.
Not just any wine, pure wine.
yeah, good old stuff. So
Wait, so it specifies that you
Non-alcoholic
get
wine.
wine?
you get
Yeah.
wine,
It is very specific.
you get wine, you get chicks, and you get fruit.
What verse is that?
32, 33, and 34.
32, 33, 34. Private gardens, vineyards, yes, nubile, well-matched companions, and an overflowing cup. In English, it's not very specific. It does say vineyards, but I'm inclined to think we're getting grape juice here.
حدائق وأعناب, so gardens and
vineyards. Yeah.
Even in its rhyming state, it makes sense.
Yeah, it would make sense if it hadn't already. If I wasn't aware that elsewhere the Quran also prohibits alcohol.
See, the Quran didn't prohibit alcohol yet. So
Okay.
at that
Alcohol
time,
is halal at this point in the Quran,
Yes.
and this is something we're going to bring up when it's finally forbidden.
On the other side, like even pigs and all the things that's forbidden in Islam, it's not forbidden in heaven. Because people, when Sheikh and everyone else don't drink alcohol, even if you want to, because in heaven you can drink how no matter how much alcohol you want, you can drink and never get drunk. which is
That makes
water.
perfect sense.
That
Which is
sucks,
water.
though. That
Yeah,
sucks,
water.
though. If you drink your beer and you never get drunk, then somebody was basically cheating the alcohol out of your
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah,
Speaking
water
of all
will.
this alcohol, I need a drink, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else after this till the end of the surah?
I think verse 36 is also quite interesting, where it says a fitting reward as a generous gift. So they're talking about all of these things, and they say fitting is in quote marks here. So it's a fitting reward as generous gift from your Lord, where I'm thinking here, when he's saying it is a fitting reward, he doesn't actually mean it's a fitting reward. That's
What
just
does
my
it
thought.
mean? That like it's not fitting, or it's
Yeah,
not a
like
reward?
he's trying to mislead us, saying it's a quote unquote fitting reward.
Actually, it
You
means
know?
عطاء حسابا. It means more than enough, not fitting. More than enough. You'll be more than satisfied in heaven as a man.
Yeah,
Like just emphasize as a man.
I think
Yes.
my mind goes into the used car salesman's pitch. This car is better than yours. It's much better than yours, and then you swap your car, and then it breaks down in the corner.
Yeah.
I have a note on the just reading it, the last verse of this surah, which is the infidels will say, "I wish I wasn't resurrected and stayed as dirt because of the hells we're gonna see in hell."
Yeah, I was just
Well,
gonna mention the last verse as well, because that last verse is it is quite the point to end the surah on.
Well, will be cremated and thrown in the ocean. I want to see how God will resurrect me from dirt. I won't be dirt.
I have to read another super chat before it disappears. Grimlock gave $5, says, such great liberalism. I truly enjoy imagining my grandmother being had by some stranger. You know, that's the interesting thing,
Oh my
Grimlock.
gosh.
It's not your grandmother, because we have sex robots made for us too. We have females that are of nubile and matching and all very pleasant on the sex selling thing, and they don't exist for any other purpose. They didn't exist on the earth. They exist only in heaven, only to serve the men who sit there.
Yep.
And your grandmother, since she's your grandmother, so she was married to your grandfather, so she will be his wife, even if they're divorced.
Unless your grandfather was an atheist, at which point she won't.
Then you will be. I don't know. I don't know about that. Quran doesn't talk about the woman with.
Let her finish, Bogey.
Quran doesn't talk about the women that their husbands will go to hell.
Yeah, does not actually.
So what will happen to them?
Yeah, I had this very same question. I asked my dad about this, where I asked, so if my mom is in heaven right now waiting for me, and if I die and I don't believe, will I be reunited with my mother? And
No.
he goes, so his answer was, you're thinking way too much about this. Go pray.
No, but the son is different, because I think the answer will be that the grandmother will go to hell also.
I don't
because men are important in Quran.
No. I understand it that women will go to heaven on their own volition. There is no, if your husband goes to hell, you go to hell with him.
Yeah. That's how I.
But what will happen to them?
But
I will be an outcast.
Okay, no. I think another guy will get her. That's the thing.
Somebody else.
Someone will get her.
Because here's the thing: your grandma is in heaven now, all youthified up to her 18th year or something, right?
Yeah.
And all the sex drives is there in your grandmother, because she does have some, right? And then
this is the ultimate wife swap.
And then she's gonna go like, I need a guy here. Like, come
but
on.
a guy have to choose. If no guy chooses her, which will never happen, a guy will choose any women in heaven in Muslims. But if a guy chooses her, if the guy doesn't choose her, because women have no role in heaven, no rights in heaven, what will happen to those women?
I don't
They'll be
know.
like,
I
yeah,
don't
I'll
know.
give you my wife. I'll give you my wife if you give me your wife.
Fuck our luck. Yeah.
She will be another concubine.
We're
just
screwed
like
in every single way in Islam. Every single way.
Diana, in heaven you are
Yeah.
literally screwed. So there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
I
mention
was
again that
saying-
we get comments from Ishak Ibrahim. In this case, says that everyone will be created everybody will be in the image of Adam, young, tall, and sexy, and more than 90 feet tall.
No.
No,
Don't have
women
this.
would not like
No,
that.
no,
Come on.
no,
No.
no. I don't think so.
Women
Yeah.
No, we
would
haven't
not
heard
like
that, read that at all.
How could you make
Uh,
everybody sexy? I mean, think about that.
Yeah,
That's
there's
a
a stream.
sliding scale.
That's a
What I-
stream. There's a
What I
stream.
heard is that
I'll
you
go dive in it. Wake up
Hello,
as
turtle.
one
Sorry.
with big boobs, big butt, perfect body for the taste of Muslims, and be virgin every day. And that's how beautiful I will be.
Yeah. See, the
That's
problem is
beauty in the
that.
eyes of Muslims. The
Yeah.
high
The problem is every single one, men and women have different standard of beauty. Some have one side, and then people will love the other side. Some like them skinny, some like them full. So it's like whose standard beauty are you gonna fall into? And I think and I think it's the standard beauty of whoever the husband or the man of the relationship.
I'm sure of that. I agree
Again.
on that.
Again, the women don't have a say.
So they're gonna hold a competition, Miss Heaven, and elect the best beauties.
No, because these are haram. Beauty
Ah,
competitions
okay.
are haram.
Okay.
I have a quick comment on ayah number 37, 38. First, let's talk about that the sky has been built by Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman is a name of Allah, another name of God.
The merciful.
The merciful. But we have
Yeah.
we have found some scripture, not scripture. We have found some writings on stones in Arabia, which is very, very ancient, very common, that people like kind of put graffitis praying to God, and it's very common among the Christian to pray to the Ar-Rahman. So the name of Rahman is very common amongst the Christian Arabs to use as a name for God. And another thing in 38, it talks يوم القيامة يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة. So it talks about the Holy Spirit. It talks about the Spirit, not the Holy Spirit. It talks about the Spirit and the angels.
Yeah.
It separates the Spirit from the angels. And if you go through the Sunni tafsirs, all of them do not agree on what is the Spirit. Some say it's human being. Some say it's a separate sect of angels that God made them special, and then some say it's Gabriel.
Gabriel, yes, it's Gabriel in our sect.
I've got another
Gabriel.
super chat that is about to blip off the screen. G Skeptic with 5 pounds. Excuse me, yeah, 5 pounds. Hi all. The term infidel creeps up a lot, but I don't believe this means atheists like us. I think that this is believers of other religions, Arab polytheists, etc.
Yeah, infidel in Arabic means kafir. Kafir doesn't mean an atheist. Kafir means that, like, I can believe in God and choose not to follow him. That's a kafir. That's an infidel in Arabic.
The way I was taught was that an infidel is a non-believer.
Yeah,
No,
well, I hope it's
actually,
non-believer
in
because I'm
Arabic-
wearing the shirt.
It basically
Arabic.
says that.
Yeah,
It
no,
basically
no.
means that
In
you choose
Arabic-
not to believe.
Exactly,
Okay.
because you choose, but you believe in God. Like in Arabic, I always said, I'm not an infidel, I'm an atheist. Infidels are everyone who even believe in God, but are like Shia calls the Sunnah infidels, and infidels call the Shia infidels. They believe in God, but they're not following the rules that we don't agree upon. So we are infidels.
Infidel refers to everyone who isn't Muslim.
Yes, everyone who
Yes.
not in the group, the sect of the
And
group.
not
So,
even
yeah.
Muslim. Is a Muslim and the same sect.
Yes.
Because Shia calls the Sunni infidels, Sunni calls the Shia infidels, and everyone else.
I
And
got to
we
read a
all
couple
know that
others
One
real
sect,
quick. I got to
Yeah.
read a couple others real quick because they're blipping off. Woody with £1.99 super sticker. Thank you very much for that. And there's another one for Doubting Thomas. Thank you, Doubting. That's a friend of mine. $20 super sticker. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a
Resume.
question for the panel as well there,
What's that?
by Iron Charioteer. Question for the panel. A lot of Muslims reverse Al-Ghazali.
Ghazali.
Ghazali, was he a revolutionary in Islam?
No.
Not really.
Not
No.
really. He was a big apologist. He was trying to mix. He did what Thomas Aquinas was trying to do, is basically use the Socrates and the philosophy way to get to like God and apologist. And it's become
Ibn
very
Rushd.
famous. Yeah, and he became very famous recently or among Christians because the Kalam, what do they call it? The Kalam basically.
Cosmological argument.
Yeah, it originated with him, and or some sort of it originated with him, and then William Lane Craig he took it from there and like added to it. He even Craig will reference him, so he is not that much. And then there is another book about there's multiple Ghazalis, so in the history of Islam, but the most famous one is that.
Okay.
So
Bob?
before we close out this surah, I had a question though, because it's talking about after you die, you get resurrected and all of that, right? So after I die, I would like to be shot out into space. So if that happens to me, will I be resurrected on Arafat on the day of judgment?
Well,
Because body is no longer there.
Here
Well,
is the
there's no
bad.
space in Islam, so yeah.
The bad news is nobody's getting resurrected.
What?
So yeah, I know. So all the money spent on shooting yourself into space or throwing yourself into the sea, basically just it's you when you want to be disposed of in that particular way, and that's fine. But you're not needing to dodge resurrection because it ain't happening.
Oh my super non-existent Allah.
I
Yes.
think if you try to shoot yourself into space, angels will throw lamps at you.
If that's how you're gonna go to space,
Oh,
then all
that's
power
true.
to you.
That's true. Turtle mentioned that's true, Turtle. I will get lamps thrown at me.
Just
Right.
one thing about Ghazali, just for people that don't know. Ghazali was a type of he was a sheikh and a philosopher, and he was into tasawwuf, and tasawwuf are the apologists of Islam because to them Islam is all about love and flowers and art and peace. So that's why people think of him as an outcast, but he was still a Muslim.
I gotta do a little shout out for my girl here. She's like, do you know how expensive being sent to space will be? So obviously she doesn't want me to go to space.
Here, your relatives are pulling you back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Shit.
next surah, please. I think we gutted this one.
Nazi'at.
79 and Nazi'at. What's the Nazi'at? And what the heck is going on here?
Can I translate it?
Just
our
a second.
sect?
Yes,
a
please.
second. I have an intro here and then take it away.
Okay, sure.
79, 1 to 5,
Well,
64.
let her translate it.
Well, yeah, but I'm just getting to the point where she can actually get to translate it.
Okay.
I want to point out that this is also with a very long A. This is a rhyming surah like none other, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rhymes in it. And Diana, please take it away from here.
Just the Nazi'at to explain to people. If you've seen Harry Potter and the evil guy, I forgot Voldemort, when the spirits go inside the wizards and remove their soul away. So this is a naziat. This is a spirit that goes into your soul and remove it from your body as an infidel while throwing it to hell. So that's a naziat. It's
So the angel of death is in action here?
not the angel of death, not Azrael.
Not as
No, these are angels that will go for the infidel people and the atheist, and will go through your body
out.
and pull your soul out very harmfully and throw it in hell.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I want my soul back. No,
Oh,
as a matter of fact, I don't.
I think Harry Potter took this idea from this verse.
Oh, so it's like Dementors in Harry Potter. That's what you're saying.
Dementors, yes, that's the word, Dementors. These are Dementors, and Azat are Dementors, literally. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I have to note from 1 to 5, it references the angels in a female way. So feminine verse names.
Because
Because in Arabic belief prior to Islam, Allah had daughters. And here's the same. We had the same claim before when Allah says that, oh, you give the daughter to Allah and you keep the boys for yourself, or the male for yourself.
Okay.
So it's the same thing here. Allah have his worker, his angels, his daughters doing the dirty work while he sits on his throne.
Well, at least there's female things in the Quran. It's angels,
Allah
suckers,
has-
soul suckers, whatever. But there are females, which is good, an improvement.
I don't know if
Allah
it's an
has
improvement.
daughters?
Soul suckers.
Yeah, that's the exact thing. They suck your soul out. It's not an improvement of that.
Ishaq
And
Ibrahim.
also mermaids, because they attract the souls of the good ones, like the mermaid sounds, in the sea. Yeah, because of the good ones will be attracted to these souls, and the bad ones, they will suck their soul. Yeah, I love Quran.
Okay. Ishaq Ibrahim, you ought to consider being on the panel here because you've got so much to say. He says, guys, do you remember the story of the guy that was burned and the ashes dispersed in the sea all and around the earth? Allah forgave him just for that. So you might be lucky if you go that far. And earlier, he also justified his previous statement when he says that somewhere in the Quran it says that Adam was made so many cubits tall, which would equate to roughly 90 feet. I don't remember that verse. Maybe we haven't come to it yet.
I think that's in the Hadith, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's nothing in the Quran
I'm not
about the
taking
length
anything.
of Adam.
I'm not taking anything from the Hadith. I can't. It's got to stick to just to the Quran.
Oh my God,
That's a whole different
around-
show.
70, 80 books.
It's an even bigger mess than the Quran is.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute nightmare to go through if you want to go through.
I think there's 78 sects in Islam.
a little bit more, I think.
78 sects. Every sect have a hadith.
Yeah, they can't agree on.
Oh, yes. And this is from Andrew Moore. Question for the panel. Do the Nizari Ismailis, the assassins, still exist, and in what form? Again,
There are
I
Ismailis.
want to keep questions like to the surahs we're talking about, but go ahead and answer this one.
There are Ismailis, but they're very few, and they're they're on the Sunnah spectrum, I think.
No, they're Shia, 100%.
No,
I actually was contemplating
Shia doesn't
joining the Ismailis
accept
for a
Shia,
while.
by the way. Just being a Shia, raised as a Shia, we don't accept Shia. Even the people that say they are Shia, we don't accept them, like the Fatimiyin and Alawiyin. We don't accept them. They're not Shia to us. They're infidels.
That's the thing.
But I think the Ismailis are in Yemen.
You're
Yemen.
You're talking about the Ithna Ashariya, the Shia Ithna Ashariya, which are separate. The Ismaili, the Ismaili is a Shia sect too. They believe in the Imamate and they believe in Ali. And
but I think they're in Yemen, still in Yemen, from Hussein, Ismailiyin. They're not in the Middle East here.
They are in Yemen, and there are I don't know about the Nizaris, but there's different sects of Ismaili, and one of them is very famous in India. Um, whoa.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And
To a point here, to a fun point. If you ever go to a place where there is Ismailis and there is a get together and they're having all their drums and singing and whatever, like the birthday of Muhammad or something like that. You walk around and the loudest bunch will be the Ismailis. They're generally renowned for being extremely loud in these kind of parties.
I don't know to what you guys are referring. I have no idea.
It's a sect, basically.
It's a sect.
And if they show up in, let's say, a big festivity like the birthday of Muhammad, all the sects would have their tents up and they would be singing and dancing and all the other stuff. And the loudest bunch usually is the Ismailis. That you know where they are because they are the loudest bunch.
Well, in my country, to be fair, they're pretty loud also when it comes to parties where they have the traditional drums and all of that jazz, and it is quite the spectacle, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about how many sects there are in Islam, and these are one of the sects, which is very, very few of them. The major two sects are Shia and Sunni, and the other ones are very small sects. So, yeah.
Yeah, they.
Oh, they're not big, but they are loud for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone is loud.
If you want, whoever asked about the Nizaris, go to Abdullah Samir's YouTube, the Friendly Ex-Muslim. He was a Sunni, but before that he was raised as an Ismaili, and I think his dad is still an Ismaili. So, yeah, he would give you more intel about it than I don't know any of us here was an Ismaili.
I wonder why the counter word for that was assassin.
Because they
Historical.
started the Hashashin. So if you read the story, the guy who started that group was a Nizari Ismaili.
Yeah. The word hashish.
The
word
famous
hashish,
game.
Yeah.
The famous game Assassin's Creed comes from that.
Okay.
It actually is, they created that word. Those people who used hashish to get the high and go and assassin politicians and kings and whatever, those were those particular sect of Ismailis. And the word assassin is actually stemmed from this.
So I got another question here from Reg X Muslima. Says he didn't realize until he says I didn't realize until I left the faith how much I repressed that most rules we followed came from hadith as well as most stories of Muhammad. Very little substance in the Quran.
This is a
Yes.
female,
Very true.
by the way. She's a
Yes,
female
even
ex-Muslim.
By the name,
Oh,
by the name I'm
Muslima.
suggesting. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Muslima.
Yes.
Even the way we
And
pray
yes,
comes from the hadith, and you'll find that different sects of Islam pray differently. Like there'll be differences.
There will be.
Oh yeah.
Even
A
in
lot-
Sunni, there's differences.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff does come from the hadith, but with a careful and really, really careful reading of the Quran, you're going to find most of it in the Quran.
yes.
It's a sad state of affairs. A lot of people don't get there. They just say, "Oh, it's a hadith." Okay, good, fine. But if I show you the verse where it is codified in the Quran, it's going to be much worse.
Yeah, that's
I
the
agree.
thing. That's the thing about the Quran is not a clear book. You need to interpret it. People have to come in and comment on it. People
Well, it
need to
says
write
very
tafsirs.
clearly that it's clear.
I know. It's,
Oh yeah.
How clear can it be?
how
Let's
do you
go
know
back
the
to
Quran?
the spirit suckers.
Yeah, how do you
Soul
know the
suckers.
Quran is clear? Because it says it's clear.
The Quran is clear.
Yeah.
Our hearts aren't, so we can't
Yeah.
understand it.
I'm going to throw in
Well-
another super chat in this opportunity. Alexander Dundee at €5. Greetings from a Swede in Estonia. Awesome chat with wonderful people. Thank you very much for that.
Interesting place to be. Verse number 6 and 7, I want to comment on a little bit. Yom Tarjifu Rajifa, the day that the shaker shakes, right? It's rhyming, so excuse the meaning, okay? So when the shakers shake, right, I know.
You're naughty man, Bogi.
When the shakers shake, it says, تتبعها الرادفة.
Oh
What
my
the-
gosh.
What the heck are you doing, dude?
Somebody
Okay.
explain this to Aaron. I don't think he
well,
understands the
well,
joke.
So,
Okay,
when
when-
something is radifa, that means you're riding a bicycle and you're having somebody in the back seat, and it's a single bike. It's not a tandem, right? So you have an extra person riding along with you
and
What
shaking.
and shaking. When
Yeah.
it's
You're having
shaking,
sex on a bike.
right? And it's go like a radifa always tetma, because the radifa is the guy behind you on the bike, right?
Yeah,
So,
shaking.
what are you doing, dude?
I don't think Aaron still got the joke though.
I'm looking for the verses where the shakers shake. You got a different translation than I
6
do.
and 7.
Six.
I don't have a
Six.
translation.
Yeah,
Let
but
me,
it was just
let me
translated.
look what it says. Because see, the problem, Aaron, you have the days. It says on the days when the blast reverberate and the second blast follows, which is really
That's-
doesn't give the meaning.
That's a translation, that's the interpretation, not the translation. The translation
yeah.
is when the shivering thing is shivering, the shiverist is shivering, while you're behind each other. Yeah, that's it. In Arabic, when translated literally, it's like something is shivering, it's making you shiver and shaking while someone is behind you. That's the literal translation. The interpretation is different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the.
Yeah.
See,
That's why we laughed.
because if you translated like word for word, it wouldn't mean anything.
It's yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah,
and,
just
and the reason
Actually,
I wanted to bring this
If
back
you
is
translate it literally a word for a word, all the surah, it will be a porn story.
okay.
It will be.
Okay, I know somebody who can make a movie out of
سبحات
this.
سبحا ناشطات نشطا مدبرات أمرا ترجف الراجفة الرادفة. Just read it. It's a porn story in Arabic.
Okay, I think I need to connect you up with some people who can make this kind of movies.
Yeah, I'm a naughty girl. Yeah.
That would be such a show. Oh no!
Well,
Like
it's
when you
important to note. I'm
Nazi'at take
noticing.
off.
I'm noticing a comment. Iron Charioteer mentions a shaky shake, but I think, but a shake is different than a shaker, right?
Right.
So we have do we have a shaky shake and a shaking shaker?
Yes,
done.
we have a shaking shaker. We have a rajifa and we have a tarjif. So yes, we have a shaking shaker.
And we
Okay.
have, if you translate it, let me tell Aaron. If you translate it literally word for word from the first verse, النازعات taking off, ناشطات hyperactive, swimming, going fast, make it done, shaking, following each other, stiff somethings, stirs. So it's that's the literal words. If you translate it wordly, it's a porn story in Arabic.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
New branch of porn, shaking porn. There you go. Next.
Yeah. قولوا من يومئذ.
Next is, well, I have a note here that says it is different because of the verses are rhyming. In fact, both surahs 79 and 78 are heavily rhyming surahs, and that compromises the meaning in a very interesting way in favor of using words that rhyme. Muhammad
Yes.
sucked at poetry. Apparently, he did.
I mean, these are obviously some of these verses or some of these surahs are rhyming and some of them are not. So
right.
Clearly we're talking about multiple authors, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Obviously.
We could be.
But-
whoever tried poetry in this one sucked at poetry and ended up
Yes.
with this.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe for Arabic actually. Actually, if you are an Arabic person who don't know this is the Quran and you read it, you won't even understand anything, because when the shivers, it doesn't mean the earth will be blown from the one blow. That's what the translation is, which is weird, which is not has nothing to do with Arabic whatsoever. So I think he was. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, go ahead.
If there was a person who was going through this and he didn't know that this was the Quran, he'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Excuse my French.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So again, meaning suffers. Rhyme is great. This is the short story of our surahs today. 79, 10, 11, 12. If you want to reference it, yes, please.
79, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I've found it. Okay. They say, what? Shall we be brought back to life after we have turned into decayed bones? And they say, such a return is impossible. Okay, my note is, yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Yep, that we all agree.
So yes, so the zombie style getting out of the grave, reconstructionist resurrection is in fact impossible. Allah does not know that somehow.
But here on my translation of verse 12 says, adding, then such a return would be a total loss for us, where the entire meaning of that verse is very different now.
Kuratun khasira, it's I don't know, when you shoot a goal and it's not doesn't go in the goal. I forgot the name. I think the infidels. Yeah, the infidels will be say.
I would use the karra as karra wa farra as the act of war. So you attack and then you retreat. And this advance that we tried was a lost one. So it didn't work, right? That's where I want to go with the meaning, but
karra doesn't have te marbuta, and kura is not karra.
Karratun khasira.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a reference. It's a bad thing. I think the same result. We'll be disappointed.
So whatever you tried didn't work. Right. So, but the point is, it does come to emphasize the reconstructionist resurrection in Islam this way. And again, if you have bad dreams about this, talk to your ex-Muslim friends. They will get you through this. It's not going to happen. Just calm down. It's okay. You won't be resurrected. There won't be a judgment day. And Allah is kind of missing altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But verse 13 says, but indeed it will take only one mighty blast.
Oh, sure. But here, and that contradicted it, Yawma tarjifa rajifa, that's not one blast. Right? By any kind of measure. Right. If you're familiar with some slang, volcanic mountains generally are referenced to by the word ar-rajaf.
No, but it clearly says wahidatun.
Right. But here, the tarjifa rajifa, that's multiples, right? So a rajifa is shaking big time. So
you're telling me there's a contradiction in this surah?
There might just be one, yeah.
I like on number 15. I like the comment that Aaron wrote down. He said, "Here we go again about Moses."
Moses comes again. Here comes Moses. Moses.
I think Muhammad has a Jewish guilt, the Holocaust guilt before it happened.
Well, wait until he gets to Mecca.
Yeah.
I do.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wait until because the problem here is Mecca is controlled by Jewish people. They are doing their agriculture there. They live
And
there.
it's not about that. Also, pharaohs and the pyramids that were in the peak at that time. Because it's all
Yes,
about the pharaoh. It's not about Moses. It's about pharaoh.
right, right.
Pharaoh and they're because they were so like everyone other than the Egyptians
Yeah,
were so jealous of the pharaohs, and they were paying people. They didn't have slaves. They were paying people. While on this side they were having slaves working for them, and the majesty of the pyramids and their long ruling. I think they were jealous. They want to be the first. That's why Moses is here a lot, and Muhammad is a psychopath. So yeah.
You know, it's had Allah considered the stories like this one about Moses into one larger block. Excuse me, in one larger
Faraj.
block. My friends say they tell me when I sneeze accidentally. They tell me that you're cursed. Be cursed.
That's why you say Faraj. Yeah.
Right. Moses and Pharaoh and delivered a proper surah with the fullest content there, which have been a lot better than this partial regurgitations we get from it this way. Is just an editor's note. Get your stories together so we can actually read them versus throw us a couple of verses here and a couple of verses there, and then some of them don't even agree with each other. Yeah. Anyways, any comments about the section about Moses?
Same thing.
Same
The
old.
snake and
I
the
think
yeah.
Aaron said. I think Aaron in his notes he said it best. Here we go again.
Right. Here we
Yeah.
go again. Because what's the need for this beyond the first verse? Like, did you remember Moses? Right. We do. We didn't forget the previous stuff. We're not that dumb.
Muhammad
I
often
think
says
it's also about sorry. It's also
sorry.
about the because at that time there was a huge conflict between Jewish and Christianity, and Muhammad once took the side. He was like talking lots about Jewish and Moses because he wanted to grab the side of Jewish to his side, to bring Jewish to his side against Christianity. I think that might be why we talk about Moses a lot and Jewish a lot
Plus,
in
he often
Quran.
compares himself to Moses. He says he is like Moses, but to the whole world. 'Cause he says Moses was one of the greatest prophets, and now I am here. I'm even greater than Moses.
He is the greatest in
Yes.
the eyes of Islam. He's the end
Yes.
of the prophets and the greatest of them all. Of
I
course.
have a
Yeah.
hypothesis though. I think
Sure.
they're talking about Moses here because they were running out of prophets to talk about. So let's rehash some famous
Really?
prophets.
You know how
I
many
said, oh,
prophets are in Islam?
You know what?
Despite the hadith claiming there are 50,000 prophets, you could
I
have
have,
picked
you know,
anyone.
Yeah.
an info for Aaron. Aaron, we have Shrine. We have around in Lebanon, this 10,000 kilometers place. We have over 240 shrines for prophets, just in Lebanon.
Trains?
Shrines.
Like the
Shrines,
shrines,
shrines.
Shrines.
shrines in Lebanon.
Oh, sorry.
100 to 240 shrines for prophets.
How many prophets do you have?
Well, there are the smaller prophets, like Islam says. There are thousands of prophets. There are the major big ones, which are 5, including Muhammad, and there are smaller prophets who are sent between the bigger prophets.
Wow.
it
So
all
there's
starts with
thousands of-
Adam as it all starts at Adam as the main, first prophet.
Yes, and ends with Muhammad. And between
That's
them,
like the title for Adam to be the first prophet is the one of the most stupid like titles. He is a prophet. He's a messenger. He's a messenger for whom and for what? It's only him and his wife. So
for trees and the devil who made his wife eat the fruit.
yeah.
Okay,
I-
I've got a couple of super chats I've got to read, and one of them is obviously just for the fun of it. So Dion Yasan, and I have no idea how to pronounce that word. $2, just as the word puppy.
Yay!
Thank you very much for that. The second one gets a little bit more ridiculous, and I'm not going to take the bait every time. So I just want to set a precedent here. I'll read this one, but if you do other things like that, I may not read them. Anton Gomez with $66 pesos 60 cents. It says Fergal Burgle Manergal Gurgle.
Yes, you're right.
I was
think
gonna
that-
say, go to
I
Matt
think-
Dillahunty. It's Matt Dillahunty's
Yes, that's
word,
what for
so-
maths. It's for math. Yeah.
I think that might be a what you might call it, an incantation.
Incantation.
Also, from what I understood, Adam wasn't a full prophet. He was like a half prophet, a Nabi. And the first actual prophet was Noah.
Wait, there are half prophets?
A Nabi,
Yes.
basically. It's basically a half prophet.
That's when your father's a prophet, but your mother was not.
Yeah, like
A
full prophet is a Rasul, or a full prophet is someone who God reveals a new law to, like the Quran, the Torah, or something. But a half prophet, he only re-explains that whole thing. He doesn't have a new law given to him.
So
So they needed to be peer reviewed before they can become a full prophet.
just to ruffle feathers, according to Islam, Joseph Smith is not a prophet. I know
There's a
that's
surprise.
going to make a lot of people very angry.
Well, what can we say?
Nothing.
It is a very ridiculous notion of like how many prophets we have, half prophets we have, 1/4 prophets we have.
Just
Is there
follow
like
it.
1/10 of a prophet?
There are
Yeah.
small prophets that don't have miracles. They didn't have books, actually. These are the major prophets have books, and the small prophets doesn't have books. Thank God. We don't need more books.
We would have more books than we already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So back to the
so they
verse.
can be considered as 1/10 of a prophet, then, right?
No.
I don't know, but I love the fact that like early Muslims copied from the Jewish, because the prophet and the messenger type thing is a kind of a Jewish thing, because the like Moses is the one with the laws, and then you have the prophet behind him like explaining the law while having a connection to God. But then you see the scholars of Islam after the fact, after they adopted it from Judaism, added a little spice on top of it. It's like, oh no, they are half prophets. This one have a book but doesn't have a people. This one had people but doesn't have a book. And it's like, what the fuck are you? You're just making shit up right now.
So if you do a miracle, would you be considered a prophet then?
Like, one of the things that they talk about Muhammad, like he said that when you have a vision, like during the night, when you have a dream, it's one part of 73 parts of prophecies.
Wow.
So
It-
dreams apparently is a part of being a prophet.
It's
So
basically
according
the
to
last.
that, yeah, go ahead.
It's
sorry.
basically the only remaining way in which God still communicates to people. He said.
Yeah, the Almighty cannot communicate in a clear way except through dreams.
So you don't necessarily have false prophets.
No,
Apparently
all the
not,
prophets
according to
are
this.
real. Aaron, all of
But can all the prophets do miracles? That's the question.
All the prophets before Muhammad are real. After Muhammad, they're all charlatans, because we know he's the final messenger and prophet.
Yeah, you're going to hell for that.
So if I declared myself a prophet, then I'm totally going to hell, right?
Well,
Right.
you have to
Uh-huh.
prove it by dividing the moon into 6 pieces like
No,
a pie.
you can't even claim being a prophet after Muhammad. And this is one of the problems that the Ahmadiyya is suffering from, because they claim they have a prophet. And guess what? Most of them live in the West because they cannot live in Islamic countries anymore.
Yeah, the same thing happened with Baha'iyya, the Baha'is.
Yeah.
It's whenever, and then like we were talking about the Nizari Ismaili, they have the Imam, the current Imam Aga Khan, which they kind of, they don't claim he is a prophet. He's a descendant of the prophet, and he is an Imam, so he's like kind of second on like in the steps. He's not a prophet. He is a second, just closely there.
Didn't the same things happen to the followers of Ali as well?
Yeah, those are the Shia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I lost electricity. Go back. We were
Yay.
talking about Shia. Just
Oh,
what about us? What about us? As the Shia girl here.
we said that like we know the Ahmadiyya and Baha'iyya have a prophet, and that's why they got kicked out and got persecuted from Muslim countries, Sunnis or Shia.
Yes.
But the Shia have an Imam, which is a close enough to a prophet, but not a prophet.
No.
So the question for the Shia
That's
girl
not
is,
true.
do you have a prophet?
And that's not true. We don't have a prophet. The only prophet is Muhammad.
Right.
And
Right,
the thing about wait. Just
Yeah, that's what
stating the
I
fact.
said.
There's no prophet, and Imam is not close to the prophet. It's besides Umar was a Khalifa. It's a fight on the power. So Sunni say Umar and has the chair, figuratively speaking, after Muhammad, and the Shia says no Ali because he was his cousin and he was a warrior and fighting with him. So it's a fight for power. That's it.
I need to throw in
Okay.
another question. This is a question from the panel by Jale677. Why is the Quran disorganized? I think that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good
Why
question.
is anything disorganized? Because it was made by men.
The Quran in the book is organized on the principle of what is important for Muslims who are already believing. So the first surah is Alhamdulillah, of course, Al-Fatiha, right? But the second surah is the Baqarah, it's the biggest legislative surah in the Quran.
Yep.
And then we get a lot of these in a chunk, right? It's organized this way because for a believing Muslim who is already indoctrinated into the faith, which happens at the age of 7, by the way, that belief part, that theology part is not important. They already know that. They believe it, otherwise they would not have survived that long. The legislative part is what to do, where to cut, how much to beat, what to take, and how. Okay? Those are the things that are important for Muslims. What we're doing here in this study is we're looking at the Quran in the chronological order. So we're not looking at it as what's important for the Muslims. We're looking at it as how it was revealed bit by bit to Muhammad and to the Muslims at the time, which gives us a completely different view of it. I think it's much more detailed and we can feel the road bumps a lot better, which is the purpose of this study, is to understand what the Quran is, not to just use it as a practical document. We don't want to use it as a practical document. We don't think it's a practical document. We don't think anybody should follow this. But we need to understand what it says so we be clear when we argue with people about it. Does that answer your question?
Well, I was only reading the question, so I don't know. All right, where are we now?
If we can get back to the verse here,
Yes.
Okay.
because
Okay, so G Skeptic wanted to make a comment rather than a question. I think Aaron, Moses' brother, was a quarter of a prophet.
There you go.
Yeah. G Skept, let's see, that was Ex Muslima says, I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I recall hearing about Muhammad having the ability to speak on your behalf to Allah for forgiveness. Reminded me of Jesus at the time, reposting just in case. I don't know. And everybody's
شفيع يمكن قصدهم. I
Yes?
think they mean محمد شفيع المسلمين.
So yeah, he would go and talk to kind of put the word with Allah,
Interceding.
because
Yeah.
intercede and put the good word for people to go to heaven.
But then again, there is this principle of la shafa'at fil Islam. So how are you going to reconcile this with
Except for him, except for Muhammad, because it's a special place for him, because he's special.
that? Okay.
Yeah. And
okay.
we got
Fine,
another
fine.
question. We got another question, and this one again takes us off the verses. It says from Anton Gomez, does the fact that there cannot be new prophets restrict the birth of new religions from Islam like Mormonism did from Christianity?
Yes,
No.
it does.
No, I say
Yes.
no, because we have multiple religion and sects that have split from Islam.
But
and
they're
went
all Muslims.
way for
They're
no,
sects.
no. Like there is, like the Ahmadiyya they don't consider, no Muslim will consider Ahmadiyya as Muslims, even
But
if
the
they claim.
Ahmadiyyans consider themselves Muslims.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the rest of the Islamic world will be like, nope, they're not Muslims.
Well, that
Uh,
sounds very much like Mormons. Mormons think they're Christians.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I say no, because like it doesn't restrict, because if you have a charlatan that want to sell products, they will sell a product whatever it is. So that's how I look at it.
But the thing is, it does, because Muhammad was the last prophet. So anyone will come and say I'm a prophet, he's automatically not a Muslim and rejected
Right.
as a Muslim.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
He's
as such, their lives are in danger. So this is not trivial.
Yeah, and it's like it's the same thing. Like Mormons, they came out with their own prophet, yet they still claim to be Christian, and no other Christian will accept them as Christians.
There were many people in Arabia who claimed to be prophets right after Muhammad died, and they were all killed by the first caliph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Getting back to the surah, can I take verse 20 and 21 totally out of context and
Yes.
become a little bit blasphemous?
Okay.
Well, this would be the right show for that, I think.
Yeah.
So verse 20 says, then Moses showed him the great sign, but he denied and disobeyed Allah. So if I remove this then Moses and say showed him the great sign, saying that Allah showed Moses a great sign and Moses denied and disobeyed Allah, now we have Moses disobeying Allah.
Well, yeah, I think they're talking about the pharaoh. It's written so poorly. Maybe it's translated poorly. I'll give it.
No, it's the rhyming problem. Yeah.
Exactly.
This is why we can do this with these words and these verses very easily, because the rhyme just destroys the continuity, destroys the meaning to the point where it becomes almost a joke.
I had to read a couple translations to understand myself that they're not saying that Moses turned away and hastily gathered his people. They were talking about the pharaoh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's why I said I was going to be a little blasphemous.
Because the references got lost and now you are rhyming, he can do this and it will be carried by the language now. Now that it's broken enough to rhyme, that it doesn't have the constructs that would have stopped him otherwise from doing it. So this is part of the problem. This is why you have multiple translations and they don't agree.
Exactly. It is very hard to reconcile, my translation with your translation, where we have these two scholars who are totally disagreeing with each other about the same damn thing.
Yep.
You know what? It's even better if you read the tafsirs. And Arabic-speaking scholars reading the same Arabic Quran disagree on the same word.
That's the point I was trying to make here.
Yeah, it's not just like translation, the English or whatever language. It's in Arabic. All like the tafsirs, the Quran, the scholars are all Arabic, and they still disagree.
Yeah.
Oh, what a clear book for people.
Okay.
I mean, these,
Be in
these
awe of the miracle of Allah, man.
yeah, these verses are fun to read. The meaning, you actually have to know the meaning already, otherwise you're not going to get much of it, because this is rhyming stuff. It is there to rhyme primarily and deliver meaning secondarily.
Yeah.
Which is a very kind of circular thing where you say, oh wait, I have to know the answer to the question before I can ask the question, but I can't ask the question if I don't know the answer. What the hell? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, circular reasoning, the one reason that all religion agree on.
So 37, 38, 39, and those who transgressed and preferred the lower life, which is the here and now, then hell is.
Oh yes, can I have my lower life, please?
Yes,
I'd rather
please.
have this one.
Right. So if you don't do everything for the afterlife, then you're going to hell, because that's just it is, right?
Yeah.
This is the view about, again, this is the view about the life, the hayat dunya. Dunya means lower, lesser life. Okay, so the entire life that people know is called the lesser, valueless, whatever life. So if you concentrate for getting the benefits of this life, then you will miss out on the afterlife.
Yeah, which is very bad because all the Muslims are literally taught not to care about this life, the only life they have. So most of them die with conflicts with their parents, their loved ones, because they think that we're gonna see them again, and it's catastrophic how much we miss in our life. As an ex-Muslim, I know how much you miss in your only life, so you can gain something which is not real.
See, I see. This is why I say that in Islam, Islam is the worship of death rather than Allah, because you're worshiping for
Yes.
a time that you die, and then you know what you get after you die, and it's all about death. So
That's why
this is a worship of death.
martyrism is very sacred in Islam because people want to die. To live
It's
to
very
die is very pathetic.
it's very common to ask God in every prayer also to give you a good death, to make your death a seamless death.
Yeah, but that's because of the torture of the graves. That's
Ooh.
another story.
No, I mean
That's
just the
another
way in which
story.
you die.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I'd
the torture
rather
of the
die.
graves is by itself a horror
Yeah.
story. So it's worse than hell.
Yeah, this is why I say this whole religion is the personification of the worship of death.
Yeah.
As
I
is
That's what I-
Christianity.
Yeah, as is all
Yeah.
religion.
Does that make the Quran / Islam a copy of Christianity?
Buddhism.
And I know, and that question comes up from now and then. I don't think it does.
It's more
Really?
to
I
me.
don't think
It is
does.
more like the Torah.
Jews, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody says Christianity is a copy of Judaism, despite
It is.
the obvious fact that half of the Bible is the Old Testament, right? These works, I would call them works of literature, are built upon each other, right? They take previous notions from previous religions and incorporate it into theirs, and now you have a new religion with elements and influences from all the religions. That is nothing new. That doesn't make one religion a copy of the other, right?
I
You
have a
don't
question for Aaron,
you don't
Yes.
because
necessarily
in
approach it
Islam,
that way.
we have Friday, sacred day, and in Judaism we have Sabbath, Saturday. Where does Sunday come from in
Yeah, that's a good
Christianity?
question, because it's
Yeah,
not in the Bible. I like to bring this up to Christians all the time, that the Hebrew text on which the Bible is based, and the Bible itself, it describes the Sabbath in terms of it was never changed. It was always
Yeah.
what the Jews said it is. So it's supposed to be Friday night until Saturday evening. Why aren't they observing that? And of course, there's no explanation for it. It was a cultural thing that happened once upon a time, and nobody has an explanation for it. That's what I think.
Saturday comes from the word Saturnaeus, from the Greek god or the Roman god Saturn, I think.
Yeah, but the day Saturday is well,
but in
okay,
Shabbat in Arabic is Sabbath also.
Sabbath, right, in Arabic, which
Yeah.
means sleep,
Yeah, Sabbath.
which
Sabbath.
is sleep.
I was a
Yeah.
little confused that Saturday is named after Saturn, the god, and then we have Sunday, which of course after the sun. Monday is after the moon, and then it gets even more confusing because the next days are all named after Norse gods. So you have
Now,
Tyr,
in,
Woden, Thor, and Freya.
There you
right,
go.
in Arabic language, these days are named differently.
Exactly. The Sabbath is Sabbath.
The
Shabbat
Sabbath
is
is Sabbath, which is correct.
Let her speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ahad, Sunday is Ahad because it's supposed to be the first day of the week. So it's Ahad, it's 11 to 1. From 1, Ahad, Wahad. Isnain, which is the second, it's literally second, saying second day. Thulatha, third day. Arbi'a, fourth day. So it comes from numbers. So there's Monday, which is second day. Tuesday, third day, sorry. Wednesday, which is Arbi'a, which is fourth day. It's literally fourth day.
Thursday, the fifth day. It's
Thursday,
actually called
fifth day,
Khamis.
Khamis, 5 days. And then there comes Jum'ah, which you gather all the week, and the Shabbat because it's sacred. So in Arabic,
so
it's different. Complete
the names
different.
are different in
It's
Arabic.
it's also Semitic.
It's
Okay,
all
we have
numbers.
a super chat from Dion Yesen, $5, and this is including a clarification. Dion says Sunday was already a sacred day of rest among pagan Romans and Greeks. They changed it to make it more appealing to pagans.
Arn, since there's a Christian apologist who seems to be a little bit worried about your new series, I think he says that you named yourself after the sun god, so you should work in the Sunday and the sun god in one of the episodes just to have some fun.
Am I not? All right.
Yay. We done with 79?
Up, think so.
Okay, then we move on to 82. The Infitar. Yeehaw! The cleaving asunder, and these two surahs are conjoined at the hips. They are brothers. They are so close. Their names are synonyms.
Now you're talking about 82 and 84?
Yes, I'm talking about 82 and 84. This is like, what are you trying to do?
Infitar.
Yeah, Infitar and Inshiqaq. It's both.
Surah Al-Infitar, is that correct?
Yes. 82, 1 to 5.
Ooh.
Aaron, please read your notes.
All right, let me get back to it.
Starts off really strong.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Where did you want me to start? What
1
verse?
to 5. 1 to 5, your first.
1 to 5. When the sky is torn apart, when the stars are scattered, when the seas burst forth, when graves turn inside out, each soul will know what it has done and what it is left undone. But the firmament doesn't exist, so it can't be torn apart. The actual sky refers either to the envelope of our atmosphere or to everything we can see in the cosmos beyond that. Neither of those could ever be torn apart either. The stars are pretty well scattered already. If Muhammad only knew how obvious it was that he had no idea what he was talking about way back then.
Yes, it probably didn't. But I have a second note here, and it's in 82:2. That particular verse, وَإِذَا الْكَوَاكِبُ انْتَثَرَتْ. The translation is wrong. It's not the stars. Kawakib are planets.
Yes.
When the planets are scattered.
When the planets are scattered.
Help me
Yes.
understand that.
That's what it said. That's what she said. When the planets are scattered.
Oh, falling away.
Well, you can do it several different ways, and one of them is to pluck the sun from the middle of the solar system, and then the planets would just fly apart, right?
Well, that's the scientific definition if the sun disappears. But the
Right.
Quran is not scientific.
No, it's not. And this is not. I wouldn't find any Muslim who says this is a sign of the end day. But
No.
it's still.
I want to know how the seas will explode. Actually,
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Literally
That is
explode.
true.
There will be a meteor made entirely of cesium,
Cesium.
Cesium.
Why so specific, Aaron?
because cesium explodes on contact with water.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Oh.
No, but then according to...
Yeah, but if all this happen, the graves won't be there.
No, but then according
Because
to
after
the...
the
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, but according to the...
After the skies.
The lag. Go ahead. No, I insist, Daniel. Go ahead.
Okay, after the skies will explode, will split, and the planets will scatter, and the seas will explode. How would the fuck will find the graves?
Magic.
That is a good question, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
With a stud finder?
That explains a lot.
with the lanterns.
I'm not sure the rest of the panel knows what a stud finder is. So
Oh,
a
I know
stud
what a
finder
stud
is
finder is.
yes, it's a device that you can find nails in the wall, which will indicate where the ribs are. Most of the houses
You can't find anything. The seas will explode, the planets will scatter, and the sky will split. The earth will be gone. The whole entire earth will be gone. How will find but the graves will stay, and the souls.
Would you even care where the graves are at that point? Like,
No, if we are talking, if this is talking about where the end times is already coming, we already have the sun rising from the west, and then after that we have the sun, which is like 1 feet above from our heads. By that time, the earth is totally cooked. Forget about the seas. It would have boiled away by then.
Yeah, but how does the Kawakib interpret if the sun is not there? I mean, if you say the sun is 1 foot above our heads, then it means it's there. If the Kawakib is interpret, that means the sun isn't there, because that's the only way that would happen.
In that case, we are talking about a freaking contradiction in this book that doesn't have any contradictions.
Got it.
There's a perimeter of something like, 10,000 miles, or no, not 10,000, hundreds of thousands of miles from being just outside of the sun to being inside of the sun. It would be impossible to determine if you're within that range of the hundreds of thousands of miles. Are you physically in the sun or just outside of it? Because
no, Aaron, the sun is really big. The sun is really big.
No, this is where some apologists are going like, this is pure scientific proof of the Quran. And when we are reading it, I am seeing nothing but contradictions, errors. The total hilarity of it is just nuts.
Especially those short surahs that doesn't mean nothing. He's just trying to keep the rhyme and he's trying his best to put new words in there and trying to make it look nice. But when you dig a little bit behind it, there's no meaning.
Okay, my
Yeah,
next
no.
note here, and I would like to jump a little bit ahead. Verse number 8. This is one of the scary verses that I encountered reading the book. I will read 7
Okay.
for meaning. الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك. So that who created you and made you well and then straightened you up so you're not kind of crooked and broken, right? في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك. He could have compiled you in any way he wanted, and he did compile you into your perfect human shape, right? It's going like what? He would put my nose upside down or what? Like, what is he gonna do to me?
I cite verse 9 right after that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But no, in fact, you deny the final judgment. So there you go.
Right.
Even though he made you perfectly.
But he could have made you imperfectly too in 8. He could have made you imperfectly. And then what he's making can be imperfect at this point. Is he contradicting himself? That
I
anything
think
he does would be perfect?
I think he is. I think he is, because he's saying that he made us perfect and gave us the will to think and be all of that. And so we used our brains and said, nope, I don't want to believe in you. Now there's a contradiction right there.
Yeah.
You know how it sounds? It sounds like a kid that someone is telling him to do something, or like he's like, I could do this if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
Oh, he's like, no, I don't wanna. I wanna kill them all.
It's like one of those situations. Like, I could hurt you if I want, but I don't want to hurt you.
That's exactly Muhammad's response every time they ask Muhammad to show them one of his signs.
Like, you don't want to
Did
see
Muhammad
the sign?
stamp? Did Muhammad stamp his feet and go like, no, I don't wanna?
Pretty much.
All right. Any notes around here? Apart from the angels, the shoulder angels are.
Oh yeah, verse 11. Yeah.
You're registering your deeds in verse 10, 11. They are dignified and they write it down, right?
Yeah.
They're always there, man.
And they know what you're doing, even when you're not doing it. You're just thinking it.
They're totally recording you, fat man.
Right. I mean, talk about hegemony here. Talk about totalitarianism. Talk about 24/7 surveillance. Talk about these things. Yeah, Islam invented this. Sorry, not a good thing, but there you go. In Abrar al-Fi name, so those who are righteous, obedient, will be in a nice place, in a bliss.
In bliss, yep.
Yeah.
And the wicked will be in hell. So
yeah. Very simple, straightforward verses here.
But this raises an interesting question though. Under what criteria do you become classified as a wicked person?
By not believing. That's the first criteria, right? That's the very first criteria where you cannot be good is because you did not believe.
So if I am a very good person, I help people, I help little old ladies,
Yes.
I help children, I've educated 1,000 people and built schools and done all sorts of good things. I will still go to hell. I will still go to hell if I didn't believe.
Exactly.
Yep, you're going to hell.
All your good deeds are for nigh. It really does not count until you believe. This is like, you can do all these things, but if you haven't registered beforehand, then your deeds are not, they don't matter.
If I do everything Islam told me, like I sit at home, be a good wife and a good daughter, and pray and fast and do everything right but I don't wear veil, hijab, I will go to hell.
Right.
Just not
Because
covering my hair.
transgression
according-
within Islam, even with belief, will still end you in hell. But the first, like, if you do all the good things and not believe, you're still going to hell.
And according
Yeah,
to the
of
way
course.
we were taught when we were kids, if girls really laughed out loud, they would go to hell.
صوت البعير.
Yeah, there was a special place in hell reserved for girls who laughed.
It says something
Yay
like
me.
the voice of a woman is the voice of a devil or something like that.
There you
No,
go.
we have it in Arabic.
I
I told you
respect
the
that.
sources.
Can anybody get? Can anybody else manage to get into that part of the hell where the girls laugh?
Yes.
I think if you are
You
half
will.
girl, you
Aaron,
might
you will
go
go
there.
to hell.
Only,
Aaron will
only
be with
the-
us because you have long hair. You'll be hanged by your hair like us. We'll be hanged by our hair.
Okay.
Oh wait,
I'm not kidding.
so basically, I'm double fucked, aren't I? Because I identify as both male and female.
Yes.
No, you're not.
yeah.
Because in the eyes of Islam, Islam. Sorry, I don't know your. I don't want to intrude in your genital thing. But if you have a dick, you're a man. That's it.
The
You're
fuck?
considered a man, and you're a superior being. That's
Pardon
it.
me, I don't mean to intrude on your genitals.
Oh, how kind of
Yeah,
you.
I don't know. Sorry. Sorry.
There, you got
Because
it.
we are.
There you
I
go.
do. I don't want to intrude because we are intruded as women in our genitals and in our hymic, and it's the most important thing in the woman in Islam is her genitals. It's the only important thing, not the most important thing. It's the only important thing, unfortunately.
I was gonna say that's the only connection, the only reason women exist in Islam is to make babies. So
Yes.
No, to have sex, not only babies. No.
no, according to Islam and Muhammad, he is like make babies, be
Yes.
fruitful and multiply. Basically,
I've heard people say that a woman's stomach should never be empty.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
keep feeding her. Keep feeding her.
No, not that
What?
kind of empty.
Well, come on. This is a PG-13 show.
This is getting ridiculous really fast.
See, that's the thing is Islam is very objectifying of women. Like Diana is like the biggest example here, and she would testify for that Islam doesn't give a fuck about women. Like no woman right, nothing that anything modern day we give for a woman is given by Islam. Nothing. And the moment like you look into Islamic history, the times that women fought and got their right, like it's nothing to do with Islam. It's always something to do with something else. The first feminist, Arabic feminist, was an Egyptian woman that went to Europe and was like, fuck this shit. I'm not wearing this hijab and covering myself like this. So it's like Islam is not a feminine religion.
No.
Doesn't care about them.
It doesn't like them much. Anyways.
It reminds me of a. It reminds me of a story. If you don't mind me sharing a little bit.
That depends on what you're sharing, but okay.
No, there was a very famous transgender woman in Maldives, and she got arrested for being transgender, and the imam came to her and asked her to be all straight and be a proper person. So what she went and did was she wore the hijab, became proper. It was a hilarious thing in Maldives because they were trying to make her into a he.
Yeah.
But she went and wore the hijab, so she became proper Muslim.
Well, maybe she just saved her own life that way.
Maybe.
As terrible as that might sound. Anyway, 17 and 18, I would like to bring up as a note of these linguistic structures are not unique in the Quran, and we're going to see them more and more. that وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ. What do you know what the day of judgment is? And then what do you know what the day of judgment is? That kind of questioning will come up. Right?
So the translation I have is what will make you realize what judgment day is.
Yeah, but the language basically is a straightforward question. Right? So there is no question mark in it because that was not invented until later on. But when it says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ, what do you know what Yawm al-Din is? And then he says again, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ. Right? So
well,
asking this question is a very frequent linguistic instrument in the Quran.
Now, if I was a believing person, I would say this is quite a valid question where it says,
Yeah.
what will make me realize what the judgment day is? I don't know. You tell me, you know? Like, you're supposed to be the perfect book who's telling me the perfect things. You should know the perfect answer to that perfect question.
Yeah, yeah. And then we get to the last version here, and this kind of tickles me badly. يَوْمَ لَا تَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ لِنَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. And you said Muhammad is going to intercede for people. But this verse says no soul will be able to do anything to any other soul. Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
No intervening here. This
Mhm.
verse does not really allow it. Well, Amru Yawma idhin lillah, and the whole issue, the whole deal is Allah's at that day. So you're not going to be able to intercede to anybody, and it does not leave the room for Muhammad open here.
For all authority belongs to Allah entirely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we'll see when we will come down to the verse.
لا شفاعة في الدين. لا شفاعة في الدين. You're going to hell. Muhammad isn't going to
the
hell.
other verse says that وَجَعَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ شَفِيعًا. What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
Now Allah is like, you get a hell, you get a hell, you get a hell, and you get a hell.
That might be a contradiction in the Quran, because these two verses clearly contradict each other on the subject of Shafa'ah.
Yeah. And they are not abrogated. So
no. So what the heck, abrogators? You're missing one here. Should read your Quran.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, next one. The last surah for today's session. The Inshikak, because why not? Right. The Inshikak, the ripping apart, I guess, of the heavens, because what else are you going to rip apart at this point? Verse number 1, is a sama'un shaqqat. If the heaven ripped apart, وَأَذِنَتْ لِرَبِّهَا وَحُقَّتْ. Wow. وَالْأَرْضَ مُدَّتْ. Holy shit. Okay, so the earth is like leveled out, was flattened. It was flat already. وَأَلْقَتْ مَا فِيهَا وَدَخَلَتْ. And everything on the land was thrown away and was left on its own, like you're floating in space now, or what? وَأَذِنَتْ لِرَبِّهَا وَحُقَّتْ. Again, يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. This is a very famous verse, by the way.
Right, all of this contradicts what was the last surah.
Oh, in a way, yes, but this verse 6 is a very famous verse. I've seen it written in many places as a reminder that whatever you do it for Allah, and then you're gonna meet Him.
Oh, my translation is quite interesting. It says, "O humanity, indeed you are laboring restlessly towards your Lord, and will eventually meet the consequences."
Yeah, I didn't want to read all that into it. I just looked at the language and said, okay, this is what it says. It's kind of like whatever you do, there you are.
Yeah, to me this sounds like even though you're doing good stuff, you will still meet the consequences.
Well, yes, like this is kind of like what a nice life you have would be so bad if something happened to it, right?
It's not a wonderful life anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And then we get to the description of what happens to the believers, good doers, versus those who don't believe or don't do good. So, who was given his
Ooh.
book in his right hand, then his accounting is going to be easy. And he's going to
Oh.
return, right,
Which number?
789,
8, 9.
right?
Oh,
So,
You know,
okay.
this verse was used. My ex brother-in-law, he's left-handed. So in order to make him right-handed, they use this verse to justify that.
yes, there is,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah.
I have a question posted here. This is from G Skeptic. Says, I once heard the Alawites, who now considered Shia sect, are kind of like the Mormon equivalent of Islam. Ibn Battuta, the Muslim Marco Polo, wrote they kept their sheep and donkeys in masjids.
Mosque.
Masjids. Okay.
Mosques.
I don't even understand the question. So
So,
Okay,
I,
Alawites and Alawiya, which is our sect of Shia, which Shia don't really consider them Shia, but Alawiya, they are, to me, I prefer to be Alawiya because alcohol is not forbidden to Alawiya, and but multiple marriage is forbidden. So Alawiya is like a open-minded version of Islam. I think so.
I'm not going to dispute.
Because
Whatever.
I know I have lots of Alawiya in Lebanon, so I know
Right.
about Alawiya, and there are lots of rumors. But their religion is very funny. You are fasting and you break your fast on alcohol, which is good
It's
actually.
good, actually. I would do it, but I would get drunk
that
very
is good.
quickly. You would get drunk very quickly.
It sounds like I don't know. I haven't read into their beliefs and stuff, but from an easy, quick read on like the wiki and shit, that they have some Gnostic connection. So I like the connection to alcohol sounds like the Christian reverence of alcohol type thing might be a leftover too. So that's the thing about the Middle East religions. Middle East, one of the reasons all those religions sound similar and sound connected, it's because they either split or adapted from each other. When you hear like the Christianity have some connection with Buddhism and Zoroastrianism, and then the same thing with Judaism and Islam coming in, and they all just mix and match.
Yeah. Aaron, I'll ask you to read your notes on 84, 7 to 19, please.
7 to 19. Whoever is given his record in his right hand will have an easy reckoning and return to his people well pleased. But whoever is given his record from behind his back will cry out for destruction. He will burn in the blazing fire. He used to live among his people well pleased, or he used to live among his people well pleased. He thought he would never return. Indeed, he will. His Lord was watching over him. Did you want me to keep? I swear by the glow of the sunset, by the night and what it covers, by the full moon, you will progress from stage to stage.
Yes. We dug into this section, but then I just let you read the notes because we agree the translation is good. It's odd that the creator of the universe is swearing by his own creation, between brackets, claimed creation.
Oh, that's
It
right.
would,
You asked me to read my notes on that. So
yes,
I said, what does it mean to swear by something? If
yes.
I'm absolutely confident about something, but I was misinformed or remembered incorrectly, but I swear by the full moon, and it turns out I was wrong, then what happens to the full moon?
It shrivels into a tiny little slither of a moon. It would
into
be
a
more appropriate for an Iron Age merchant to
it
do
will
that.
be a prune. See what I did
Yes,
there?
yes. So, since he would know little else to swear by, and here is me swearing by the Higgs boson, by the swirling electron, and the everlasting proton. Now that would have been a swearing.
So if it turns out you're wrong, then all of reality is undone.
Right. It just universe becomes nothing again.
I find no sense in swearing by anything, because obviously that doesn't happen. You just end up being wrong,
Right.
and protons and the moon and everything else remain as they are.
Yeah. Yes.
The way is used, or at least the way I use it among like Arabs and stuff, that if I'm swearing, it's not that something bad will happen to whatever. Maybe that's the origin of it, but now I use it as what we value as friends. So sometimes there is a very common swearing is basically say warifqa, which means between our friendships, or like I swear by our friendships that I'm gonna do this or this happened. So it's
No, but
you have a friend.
this raises an interesting question though, where why does Allah need to swear by the twilight?
Yes, it's what
Right.
people hold highly. So they will look, when you wake up in the morning and you look at the twilight and it's like, this is beautiful, this is majestic. So he's like, you look, I made this, so you should respect me.
Yeah, if the Quran is ever designed and made for everyone anytime, I would consider the longevity of the proton more significant than a twilight.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
then
And his swearing of the twilight will sound empty for me.
yeah, that's the thing is the Quran is a 700 AD text. It's an 8th century text.
It's not for today.
It's not for today. So there you go.
Also, it sounds a
But
bit.
God swears by His own name.
That's
God
what I'm.
swears by
Yes.
Himself.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It sounds a bit egotistical, where he's swearing by his own creation and he's swearing by himself, and it's like,
He should
oh,
swear by himself. I swear by myself because I'm God. Right? There is nothing more or better than me. I'm going to swear by myself. And that would be impressive all the time.
So
right.
if Allah was to go like, instead of God damn it, he'll be like, myself damn it.
Yeah. As weird as it might sound linguistically,
But it
would be more fitting if
Could
he
Allah
was
blaspheme? Could Allah blaspheme?
He does.
Probably does.
There's verses in the Quran that He does.
I swear upon myself, I will kick my ass.
Diana,
He shoot himself.
Diana, give me a reference in an email. Give me a reference to where Allah blasphemes.
I will.
Thank you.
I'll find it.
All right, and what's next?
19 لتركبن طبقا عن طبق. What does this mean?
I had the same question on verse 19.
Yeah.
When they say subtly pass from one state to another, what does that mean?
Yeah, but tabaq is something else. Tabaq is a layer, right?
Yep.
So is it going to delaminate the heavens and the earth?
You could argue it's a multiverse theory. What much?
Yeah. Good luck with that. Anyway.
There's no way to reconcile this in any way, shape, or form.
My only excuse is he's trying to rhyme, and I'm not going to try to dig too much into it because some stuff here does not make a whole lot of sense.
No, But there
The
are
same
people.
writer who wrote this verse 84, the same one as verse 81, and the one
Yeah.
82 is different also, different person.
Yeah,
Eight.
see that's another word where even like Arabic tafsirs by Arabic scholars do not agree on the meaning. Some said, "Oh, people will change in their life, so you're like a kid, and then you are on another level, another state, you're an adult, and then you have Mujahid who's out there, and he's saying, no, you gonna ascend through the skies, one layer over another." So it's all over the place.
Okay. Notes. Aaron, please read your notes on 21.
On 21.
Yes, 84.
Okay,
21.
so yeah, it's the comment is, why, when the Quran is read to them, do they not prostrate themselves to God? And my answer is, have you read it?
Right. So this verse has a sign on it here because
it does.
it mentions reading the Quran and prostrating. Those who believe and read the Quran at that point will prostrate.
They
Okay?
have to.
They kind of
Yeah.
have to, right? We passed through this sign before. We didn't mention it. We didn't bring it up.
Oh, that's why. Okay, now I
That's
know.
why that sign is there. So
Yeah.
even if you didn't understand the language, you see that, you go down.
Yeah, yeah. But
Even
I had a
like
note on what I had a note on 21 though. But
Yeah.
this verse sounds like he's whining. He's whining again. It's like, oh, I told them the truth, but they're not submitting to me.
Well, I mean, of course he's not happy about that.
yeah.
But the
then it's his fault because he
apologizer
created
says
it
that,
this way.
yeah,
Sorry,
because
Diana.
Is
the Quran
Allah is
is a holy
complaining to
book.
Allah, Mama.
Allah is complaining to Muhammad about his creation not prostrating to him. Okay. Muhammad,
No,
you
Allah's
fix that.
complaining to his Allah, Mom.
You
to Muhammad
fix
Allah
it.
Mama, yeah.
Fix it, Tony. All right.
Yeah.
So I have a small note here that says, yes, it does get worse. We are rapidly approaching the end of the Mecca part of the Quran. This part mainly contains what you summed up. Once Muhammad moves to Medina, the legislative section of the Quran begins, and you will wish you were still in the Mecca section.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've
You
gotten a
will-
lot of warnings that this is going to get worse.
It's gonna get
Yep.
worse. It's gonna
Much
get
worse.
Yes,
It's gonna get
Brace
and
yourself.
longer,
worse.
and much longer.
You're gonna
It's basically when he
you're gonna
goes into
cry
power.
back the fun days of the Mecca part.
What were you saying? Basically,
As the
when what?
apologize,
Like as soon as he goes to Medina, he's basically the king. Oh, you can, yeah. So he's
He
in
shows
power.
he shows
True
his true
nature, yeah.
colors.
So that's where we see the demonstration of power corrupts and absolute power corrupts
Corrupts,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Aaron, please notes on 22 to 23.
All right. No, the disbelievers reject the Quran. God knows best what they keep hidden inside. Heart on my sleeve, man. Give me evidence, good evidence, or don't expect me to believe you.
Okay, guys, out with it. What are you hiding? No, seriously, what are you hiding here?
I'm hiding my
actually,
beard.
this verse,
Sorry.
this verse was why I told you the story. People outside the online, I told you the story. This verse is why when I became an infidel before I became an atheist. I used to say I'm an infidel, and people say, "Don't say it. Don't say it in front of people. Hide it." I say, "But God knows that I'm thinking bad about Him. He knows it. He knows what's in my heart. Why would I lie about it?" So this stuck with me for a while till I became an atheist, and I was an open infidel. I believe in God, but I hate him. He's a bad asshole. So I used to say this because God knows that I'm thinking it, and since he knows, why we afraid from people. So it's not a bad verse for me, at least my personal experience.
Me personally, I am a very proud kafir now.
I'm not anymore because kafir, it's believing in God. I don't.
Yeah, I don't specifically like the word kafir. I know people wear it on their t-shirts, so that's fine. That's fine. It gets you where you want to get, right? For me, kafir, though, means you know Allah exists, but you deny it.
But you don't want to believe. Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
That's
no,
kafir. That's why I'm not an infidel.
That's what Christians say about atheists. They say that we know that God exists. We just pretend that we just pretend that we don't believe in him because we love to sin, and we think that if we pretend that it isn't there, then he isn't there.
No, but
that's what we call kafir.
No, but in my language, kafir means a true non-believer who does not believe that there is a God.
Right. It's definitely used like that, and I'm.
What language is yours?
I can't say at the moment.
You can't say. But
okay, but in Arabic, literally Arabic.
I'm fine with people using kafir if they want to, right? I'm perfectly, you're kafir.
But 1 second. Arabic language, even we have different accents and different words in Arabic countries. In Arabic language, kafir means a person, literally like Bogi said, who knows that God exists, but he chooses not to follow him or believe in him. And everyone who's not Muslim is considered a kafir. Like Christians are kafirs, Jewish are kafirs. There is a God, but they don't follow the right rules. In the Arabic language, atheist means mulhid. Mulhid. Yeah. Kafir is different from mulhid.
Yeah. And in modern days, right, and in modern days, I've seen Ladini, right, as a new word.
Agnostic.
Well, irreligious, if you want to be more accurate, but yeah.
Is it murhad or murtad?
Mulhid.
Mulhid.
Yes.
Mim lam ha dal.
Yeah.
So does the meaning change if I say a murtad?
Murtad.
It's more like an ex-Muslim, an apostate.
He's apostate, more accurately. Like you have been Muslim one day, and now you've left Islam, which is correct if that's what describes it, right?
So that way, then I would be a murhad. Or
you would be mulhid or ladini.
Oh, okay.
Or as
ladini is
the ancient
ladini
word,
is more used because people are afraid. They say they're not ta'ifiyin. They're not religious, but they don't separate between religions. So people like secular people uses ladini.
Correct.
It's more politics and more society.
Yes. Can the panel elucidate me on the word zindiq?
What?
Zindiq, blasphemous.
Blasphemer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Well,
yes, we are.
We're doing it. We're definitely doing it.
Yeah.
So if we've come to the end, we need to skip a week next time. So we've been doing these every 2 weeks most often, but occasionally we have to skip a weekend. We're going to have to do that this time. At the same time that we would normally be doing this, I have to be in a board meeting for American Atheists. So I have to prioritize that. So shall we meet again on the 13th of June?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Maybe by then I'll be I'll quit my job and be more available all the time.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and close it up. Yes?
In 3 weeks then?
Yes, on the 13th.
Because I had an internet connection issue. I couldn't hear the last one.
13th.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So see you guys again on the 13th.
No problem.
I have to jump immediately off of this one because I have to do a kind of a follow-up show or an after show with an apostate. Well, excuse me, with an apologist. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
But I
cool.
told him as soon as I was done with this one that I would create a link for that one.
We'll watch
Good
that.
luck.
I wish you luck.
Guys.
Thank you much. Right.
I wish the guy luck, the other guy luck. Yeah.
That is true.
There ain't gonna be a lot left of him once he's done with him.
Arn, is that going to be live? I said, is the after show going to be live? Looking forward to that.